amid the war between Israel and the Hamas militant group in the Gaza Strip. Up to 6 Chinese warships have been operating in the Middle East over the past week, according to the Chinese Ministry of Defense. According to a statement from the Chinese Ministry of Defense, the 44th Naval Escort Task Force has been in regular operations in the region since May. Last week, they also conducted a joint exercise with the Omani Navy during a visit to Oman. Following the successful completion of its visit to Oman, the Chinese Naval Escort Task Force arrived at Shuwaikh port in Kuwait as scheduled on the morning of October 18. The Chinese maritime group embarked on a 5-day goodwill visit to Kuwait. Guided by Kuwaiti naval patrol craft Failaka, warships of the Chinese task force, including ship Zibo, ship Jingzhou, and ship Chandaohu, docked at Shuwaikh port, Kuwait. They were welcomed by more than 200 people, including representatives of the Kuwaiti military, staff of the Chinese embassy in Kuwait, and overseas Chinese, the Chinese Ministry of Defense said. The task force hails from the People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater and comprises the Zibo, a Type 052D guided missile destroyer, the frigate Jingzhou, and the integrated supply ship Chandaohu. Having arrived in the Gulf of Aden north of Somalia 6 months ago, the task force has primarily been escorting shipping missions. However, earlier this month, it passed on its responsibilities to the 45th Escort Task Force. According to the South China Morning Post, under the command of the PLA's Northern Theater, the new convoy includes the Urumqi, another Type 052 destroyer, the frigate Linyi, and the supply ship Dongpingyu. The Linyi was noted to have taken part in its first mission, escorting a Panamanian cargo vessel to an undisclosed location earlier this month. Meanwhile, this tour marked the destroyer Zibo's first escort mission since its commissioning in January 2020. While the Urumqi, commissioned in early 2018, had previously been involved in another escort mission in the Gulf of Aden 2 years ago. As tensions in the region continued to rise, 6 Chinese vessels operating in Middle Eastern waters became increasingly significant. The news of Chinese warships in the region comes when the United States is ramping up its presence there. Following the attack by Hamas on Israel on October 7, the United States dispatched its most advanced carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, and its associated battle group to the eastern Mediterranean. The Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group is en route to the region. The Pentagon recently announced the deployment of an additional command ship, the USS Mount Whitney, to the eastern Mediterranean. The U.S. Navy announced Wednesday, as tensions escalate in the region amid war between Israel and Palestinian militant group Hamas. The Italy-based flagship left Wednesday and will join other U.S. assets, including 2 aircraft carrier strike groups and an amphibious assault ship already dispatched to the eastern Mediterranean in support of Israel. 6th Fleet did not specify what Mount Whitney would be doing once it arrived on station. The Pentagon did not respond to a Navy Times request for comment by deadline Wednesday. But the 52-year-old Mount Whitney serves as a command ship sporting sophisticated command, control, communications and intelligence capabilities, according to the Navy. It allows an embarked commander to direct air, ground and maritime units from one location and can move and process large amounts of data. Mount Whitney was the tactical command hub directing operations for NATO's Operation Unified Protector and the US military's Operation Odyssey Dawn against the Libyan regime in 2011. Currently off the coast of Israel and Gaza is the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, which arrived in the eastern Mediterranean last week. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordered the carrier to head to the region following the October 7 attack on Israel by Hamas, and Israel's retaliatory strikes. It's unclear how long the carrier will remain off the coast of Israel before returning to its home port in Norfolk, Virginia. The Pentagon announced Tuesday that Austin approved an extension of the Ford's deployment slated to conclude shortly so it could remain in the region longer. On October 19, the USS Carney DDG-64, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, successfully intercepted and neutralized multiple Houthi missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles in the Red Sea. Interceptions of Houthi launches by the United States are exceptionally uncommon, which adds to the significance of this incident, especially considering the escalating tensions in Israel. Notably, in October 2016, the USS Mason employed countermeasures to thwart an attempted attack in the Red Sea, which was targeting the Navy destroyer and other ships nearby. In response to that incident, the United States launched sea-launched cruise missiles at Houthi radar facilities in Yemen. Nevertheless, the presence of both Chinese and US warships serves as a clear indication of the involvement of these two global powers in the region. This development comes when tensions have escalated between the two nations due to the Ukraine conflict, with China aligning itself with Russia. Yet, the likelihood of these two navies directly confronting each other in this region remains relatively low, as they occasionally do in the Pacific. The Chinese Naval Task Group is engaged in a 5-day goodwill visit to Kuwait. The commander of the Chinese task force said, "This year marks the 5th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Kuwait Strategic Partnership and also the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. It is hoped that this visit will help facilitate mutual understanding and trust and promote exchanges and cooperation between the two countries and militaries." The Chinese Ministry of Defense said that throughout the visit, both sides will engage in mutual calls, visits, deck receptions, military exchanges, and cultural and sports activities. China has become Kuwait's largest source of imports and its biggest trading partner, with the trade volume between China and Kuwait reaching $22.1 billion in 2021. While Kuwait has been China's 7th largest source of crude oil imports, with 30.16 million tons of crude oil exported to China last year. Statistics released by Kuwait suggest that China's direct investment in Kuwait totaled about $410 million, making China Kuwait's second largest source of foreign direct investment.